Very good morning and welcome to today's session on social anthropology. Hello to Sushmita and others. Let us say a recap. In our previous sessions, we were discussing about various details related to tribal communities and also about the scope, development, methods of social anthropology, right? We have been discussing about various social institutions as prevalent in the tribal or aboriginal communities. We saw their political organization can broadly be divided into state-less societies and state societies. Under state-less societies, we discussed about gerontocracy or theocracy or chiefdom or various other chiefs or leaders who are considered as leaders because of their religious power or because of their stamina or their physical power. And we also saw there is a link between their economic pursuits or economic organizations and their political life. In other words, what we observed as described very clearly by John H.M. Beatty, each and every social institution in tribal communities, for that matter, even in non-tribal communities also, is interlinked. That means if religion is there, then it is linked with family or marriage or economic system or political system or education. Similarly, education system is linked with family, marriage or religion or economic institutions, etc. So all these social institutions, basic social institutions or beyond basic social institutions, they are linked together, they work together, they work in coordination. We saw so many institutions starting from marriage and family onwards related to our economic activities or our political activities or how we teach our children, how we learn. And one more aspect also is very, very crucial in our life. If let's say we are not able to give an explanation, taking all the temporal things into consideration, or we are not in a position to understand why it is happening like this, why it is not happening like that, then we have one more institution, that is religion. Why I use this introductory statement is because religion has certain functions. Explanatory function is one amongst them. But before going into the functions of religion, let's see what is religion. Our focus would be on tribal societies here, not, let us say, non-tribal societies. But at the same time, what we'll be doing is what are the common characteristics of both tribal as well as non-tribal societies will be taken into consideration. Let's start with the definition part. Before going into the definition of religion, whenever we talk about tribal communities and their religion, we usually start with a concept, namely supernaturalism, because religion cannot survive all alone without any link with other social institutions, right? And religion is not always, let us say, praying some god or goddess. No, it is not like that. A.R. Desai, who wrote a textbook on rural sociology in India, which even today, even after, let us say, somewhere around 60 years after the publication of this book, is considered as an authentic textbook. He says in India, for that matter in most of the societies, our religion is not a pure quote unquote religion. It is a magical religious belief system. And in this we come across various proscriptions and prescriptions. Of course, when we talk about tribal societies, we'll be talking about these proscriptions and prescriptions. Proscription says that you have to do like this. Prescription says that don't do. They are termed as taboos. It is spelled as T-A-B-O-O. It is a Malaysian term. It's not an English term. Hence, whenever we try to portray religion, we start with supernaturalism. What is supernaturalism? Supernatural means which is not natural. It's very simple to define it. If you take certain, let us say, forces and all that, we all believe that there is a big force or superpower which determines how our life is going to be, or how our even topographical conditions, whether there is going to be rain or not, whether there is going to be some kind of good crops or not, all these things will be decided by a supreme power. And we call that supreme power as God in our day-to-day parlance. You take any religion, because all religions talk about certain supernatural powers whose power is much, much more greater than a human being, that is natural human being, right? Belief in these supernatural powers is defined as supernaturalism. In other words, the first and foremost point is we all will be believing in some supernatural forces. And how our relationship is going to be with these supernatural forces. Some people or people in certain contexts, they think that if we praise them, then we can motivate, we can convince these supernatural forces to help us to remove our problems and all that.
Ma'am?
Right? Yes? Any doubt?
Ma'am, can I know is this which unit and which block?
Beg pardon, your voice is breaking. Huh? This is social anthropology, 5th semester.
Yes, ma'am. In this, which block?
Which? I'm sorry, which?
Block, ma'am.
Achha, which block you are saying? 4th block.
Yes.
Fourth block, last lesson. Yeah. In the 4th block, last lesson. If you want to have page number, I'll tell you. It is 160. Oh, no, not 160. Wait. I'll tell you the page number also. Say go to 144 or 42. You can start.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Your voice was breaking. That's the reason I could not hear you properly. Okay, let's come back. Then the other one is we strongly believe in another relationship, another type of relationship. If we threaten them, if we intimidate these supernatural forces, then we can force them to help us. These two aspects are termed as subjective aspect of supernaturalism. That means if you are praising them or doing some prayers or requesting them, then that particular subjective dimension of supernaturalism is known as religion, right? If you are trying to intimidate them or threaten these supernatural forces, then that subjective aspect is termed as magic. So in our religion, the religion which we are practicing, both tribal as well as non-tribal communities, these two are interlinked. We will not be in a position to bifurcate or divide where we are praying and where we are trying to intimidate. That means religion and magic always go together. There are certain differences. We'll see those differences after a few minutes. Then supernaturalism will be having another objective dimension also. And under that objective dimension, our society, particularly when we talk about social sanctions, in the case of social control, we'll be talking about taboos, proscriptions and prescriptions. So you are supposed to do this and don't do that. If you do this, then some kind of help or benefit will be given to you by the supernatural powers. If you fail to do a particular behavioral pattern or some activity, then supernatural powers are going to give punishment to you. So these are sanctions. We all believe in these taboos as well as religion and magic. So with this basic ideas, we study tribal religions. In fact, prior to 19th century, until Edward Burnett Tylor proposed his theories and wrote a book entitled Primitive Religion, European countries used to think that only developed civilized societies are having religion and tribal societies or barbarian societies or pre-literate societies are not having any religion at all. But the book Primitive Religion, in fact, not only questioned and criticized, but also proved that religion will be there wherever human beings are living. That means it is a basic social institution. How it develops, what happens, the stages in the development of religion, all these were discussed at length and lot of research also was done. Let me take 1 or 2 minutes on definitions of religion, then we'll go how religion develops, right? Let me start with the simplest one and etymological definition of religion. In fact, the word religion originated from a Latin term, namely religio. It is spelled as R-E-L-I-G-I-O. This religio in turn originated from two Latin terms once again. One is lig or L-I-G. Other one is leg or it is spelled as L-E-G. Meanings of these two terms, lig or leg, is bringing people together. That means religion always have congregational aspect. It brings people together. If I am subscribing a particular religion, if you are also subscribing the same religion, immediately there develops a kind of friendship or camaraderie between us on the basis that we both are subscribing a particular religion or religious sect or denomination. There are so many sects and denominations in our religion, right? But what about the definitions given by on the basis of the components of religion by the anthropologists? When we talk about the components of religion and various concepts associated with religion, we'll be referring Durkheim's definition. In fact, Durkheim has studied about religion, particularly how religion brings solidarity among the people. He talks about, in fact, he has studied one Australian tribal society, namely Arunta. On the basis of this study, he wrote a book on the division of labor, in which he talks about two types of solidarity, mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. Mechanical solidarity is that solidarity which is there because we strongly believe in certain common interests or common consciousness. Organic solidarity we achieve because we would like to have and we prepare so many do's, don'ts, rules, regulations, etc. and we establish it. Religion is a basis for mechanical solidarity. We have already mentioned that if we belong to one religion, then obviously we think that we are part of that. Then we will be having thousands or lakhs or crores of beliefs, right? Every day in, day out, all our activities, all our behavior is linked with these beliefs only. Then how to know whether a particular belief is related to the religion or not? He uses two concepts in this context. One is the sacred and the profane. Profane means mundane day-to-day activities or beliefs. Every day you will be eating food. So this is a mundane activity. Every day we are eating food, no doubt. For our survival, we have to eat food, right? But on festival days, we usually prepare some special dishes. That may be anything. Say, for instance, if you take Hinduism as an example, since on some festivals, they think that they have to eat a particular vegetable or some kind of dish, etc. Please try to remember what your mother or your wife or your family members prepared for Ugadi last year. Why I have taken Ugadi is because that is a festival which we are going to celebrate after a month or so. So on the day of Ugadi, we strongly believe that we have to eat, particularly Telugu-speaking states. Ugadi Pachadi, where we'll be putting a variety of things, vegetables or some kind of flowers or jaggery and all those things. This, of course, will not be followed if you go to Tamil Nadu or some other places. They don't have, but this preparation of Ugadi Pachadi is a special dish. Since it is a special dish, since it is linked with religion, then on the day of Ugadi, if you are preparing it, certain rituals also are associated with it and it will become a sacred one. Like that, you take an example, some of the trees or some of the bushes, some of the flowers, some situations, we ourselves under certain conditions or at certain times will become sacred. Other times, of course, profane, mundane or day-to-day aspects. So religion is a belief in sacred. Durkheim says so. And not only that, religion will have a kind of organization. In the civilized society, quote unquote, I am taking it from European societies, or in a non-tribal society, we usually have religious organizations like church. Church is a highly sophisticated organization. Whether hierarchy or coordination or delegation of powers, all these aspects are highly developed in case of church. Durkheim says religion will have this church-like organization. Of course, all religions will have this. But still we will be having some doubts, because in order to understand what is religion, how can we understand? Instead of going into certain technical jargon or concepts and all those things, we can understand it by its components. What will be there in religion? How do you define religion, or how do you explain religion, or what do you say? If I ask to which religion you belong to, of course I am not going to ask, but we usually face this question in our day-to-day life. Immediately, what is it we'll be saying? We'll be saying that these are the symbols of our religion. That may be anything. That may be, let's say, I'm putting a bindi on my forehead. It is a symbol of a particular religion. Or a person may be wearing a cross. Even cross also is a symbol of a particular religion. Like that, we are having many symbols associated with any religion. And these symbols have backing or basis in what beliefs. Each religion has so many beliefs. That means without beliefs, religion cannot be there. How these beliefs are going to be there? They vary from one sect or one denomination or one religious group to other group. Here, why I am using sect, denomination, all these terms is because the broad name is one thing. But that broad religion is categorized into, classified into various things. For instance, if you take M.S. Srinivasa's concept of range, he has used one particular concept, namely the range. On the basis of range means a particular belief or a particular symbol or a particular behavior pattern is spread over how much area, the distance. Let us say one center is there. Let us imagine that our Hyderabad is a center for a particular religious belief. From Hyderabad to it is spread up to Nizamabad, or up to, let us say, Karyamnagar, or up to, let us say, Mahabubabad, or up to Adilabad. So this is a kind of range. If it is spread over to, let us say, even Andhra Pradesh, or even beyond that, Tamil Nadu or Kerala, then the spread is more, the range is more. That is M.S. Srinivasa's parochial Hinduism. Parochial Hinduism means certain beliefs which are spread over up to Vindhya region, to Kanyakumari, that is southern part of India. Some other beliefs are only prevalent in northern part of India. Some others are prevalent only in western part of India, some eastern part of India. So, though all these are linked with Hinduism, there are differences on the basis of parochial Hinduism. And certain other beliefs, certain other rituals, etc., are spread over the entire country. Then at that time, M.S. Srinivas says the range is very high. Right? So that particular religion is known as national level religion. Sometimes these aspects will go not only limited to our country, but even to other countries also. Let me take a simplest example, Hare Krishna movement. So Krishna worship, which originated in India, now it is being followed by many other countries. It has become a movement. These aspects are described, interpreted by using concepts like range, etc., by the sociologists and social anthropologists. Then what other components are there in religion? Just now we have enlisted two aspects, beliefs, right? And all these beliefs are taught to us. We are all trained in these beliefs, not by simply saying that, come on, you do this. No, unlike a kind of prescription, unlike a rule and regulation, every society follows a case study approach. Here comes the myths or mythological stories. Every religion is based upon these myths, mythology. So by way of giving various stories, various, let us say, cases, we learn about all these beliefs, all those prescriptions as well as prescriptions. And on the basis of these myths, beliefs, and symbols, we'll be behaving in our society. Not only that, if we fail to behave as per the beliefs or symbols, etc., immediately society punishes us. That is, negative sanctions also are associated with religious beliefs. Sometimes it happens, a particular sanction which is negative for one small group of religion, namely cult, may be accepted by a big group. I have already mentioned range, right? Let us take a simplest example. Can you, if you belong to, let us say, a particular religion, let us say Hinduism, can you or are you expected to follow only a vernacular calendar? Only, let me underline that word, only. If your cult says you have to follow only vernacular calendar, we always do that. Say, for instance, if you are going to purchase a property, or you are going to start education to your child, or you are going for a marriage, while fixing date for marriage, like that. We usually refer the vernacular calendar. Vernacular calendar is a utilitarian object, and the concepts in vernacular calendar are linked with a variety of benefits or beliefs, right? But when your college reopens, you are not referring your vernacular calendar. You are following a kind of international calendar, that is Gregorian calendar. For instance, January 1st is a holiday. Why it is a holiday? Because it is a New Year's Day. We are having umpteen number of religions in our country. And for all, this is not a New Year's Day. We are following from the Gregorian calendar. So like that, a variety of beliefs, variety of symbols, variety of patterns of behavior will be there in religion. Along with religion, we have to see other aspect also, that is known as magic. What is magic? Many times students are right their answer saying that magic is like, let us say, some kind of entertainment activity. No, it is not. Please don't write such answers. If you write, your entire answer will become null and void. Nobody will give any marks to that. The reason is religion and magic, these two go together, and magic has significant definition and meaning in case of religion and magic, or in case of social anthropology or sociology. When religion is based upon at most confidence in supernatural powers, magic is based upon certain rituals. Of course, confidence, belief, all these things will be there, but magic is to some extent follows scientific method. In religion, we come across only congregational aspect, but scientific method will not be there in most of the cases. Let us take a simplest example. We are all asked to believe in the God or goddess, whoever it is, as per our cult or as per our religion. But if we ask any person, whoever is asking us to believe a God, Do you mean to say that God is going to be like this only, is like this only, or the goddess is only looking like this? Then that person may not be in a position to give any explanation for that. He or she says, no, you should not ask all such persons and you have to believe. Whereas in magic, it is not like that. If we are having some kind of problem, we will approach the magician in order to get rid of those problems. How? We strongly believe in experimentation. That is the reason Sir James Fraser, in his study entitled The Golden Bough, he describes two general principles of magic. These two principles are based upon two assumptions. That is homeopathic magic and contagious magic. If let us say we are using something, then that will become part of our body. If we are using something at our place, then that particular thing will become part of our entire house. And our magical rituals are linked with this type of assumption that is known as contagious magic. If something happens to that particular thing, then we are also going to suffer. Probably you might have heard certain beliefs. If let us say clothes used by others should not be used by other than that person. Or if let us say a person is cutting his nails, grooming his nails, then one should not throw them just like that. They should be discarded in a specific way. Why? What is the reason? You might have heard your parents or grandparents saying that if you leave your clipped nails, then any magician can do some kind of black magic with them, and whatever black magic he does, you are going to suffer with that. So here, why? What is the basic principle behind this type of belief? Contagious. Nails are part of your body. After clipping them, then what happens? Of course, that part is severed from your body, but the link between your body and the nail will not go. If somebody would like to do some kind of harm to you, and that doing harm is known as black magic, doing good is known as white magic. We are having protective magic or prohibitory magic, like that, various classifications we come across. These clipped nails will become very, very important for a magician. Here, this magician is not a magician like who do magic for entertainment. They are entirely different. They are religious leaders in tribal as well as non-tribal societies. Even we also strongly believe in magic. Say, for instance, you go to a temple and do some kind of kunkuma archana, then many people, 99% of the people strongly believe that archana kunkuma they should bring along with them, and every day they have to put that archana kunkuma on their forehead. So what is the assumption here? Archana kumkum has become part of the god or goddess's body. If you smear that kunkuma on your forehead, then what happens? That god will definitely helps you. In other words, he enters into your body and you will be doing only good activities, but not bad activities. If you are not doing bad activities, then no harm will be done to you by any other supernatural powers. Then the second principle which Fraser said is homeopathic magic. The assumption behind this is like produces like. It is also known as the principle of similarity. How? Let us see some magical rituals. Scones who live in Madhya Pradesh part of our country, if no rains are there, what they usually do is they'll collect some firewood, go to a hillock, and they'll burn that firewood. And they usually see whether smoke is emanating or not. The reason is the more the smoke, the more the rain. This is the justification for that particular ritual. Forget about codes and all those people. Even we also follow the same. If you are, let us say, going to stay in a new house, either constructed by you or taken on rent, a particular ritual will be done among the Hindus. That is Palu Ponginchadam. I am using Telugu word. So the day one, what you have to do is you have to take some milk, boil them, and you have to see how it is, in which direction the boil is going to. And you have to use some rice, certain other things into that, and prepare a sweet dish. And that will be considered as a prasadam or food offered to the god. Here, in which direction that boiled milk going, it is based upon a like produces like. If it is going towards, let us say, east, or as per the cult's beliefs, whether it is good to stay in that particular house or not will be decided. Even this also is based upon like produces like, or homeopathic magical principle similarity. Right? Raymond Firth describes or classifies magic into protective magic, prohibitive magic. All of us follow various magical beliefs which we strongly think that they protect us. You please take a simplest example. On the day of wedding among the Hindus, usually bride and bridegroom will be asked to put a small black colored dot here on their cheek. And we have one word also for that, that is dishti chukka. If a small kid is there, we usually tie black beads to the wrist of that boy, or baby boy or baby girl. Sir, why are we doing this? This particular belief is termed as protective magic by Raymond Firth. If you are an agriculturist, even there also, we usually follow certain protective magical rituals. We are having prohibitive magic also. Under prohibitive magic, we are asked to not to do certain activities or do certain activities. Say, for instance, if you go to villages, for that matter, even urban areas also in Hyderabad, certain village goddesses will be worshipped. Pochamma, a kind of village goddess. People say that you are expected to offer onions to goddess Pochamma. So expected to offer, it is a kind of do. You have to do that. Similarly, if you go to Telangana villages, Maisamma, another goddess who protects the entire village. All villagers strongly believe that during afternoon, around 12 o'clock, 12 to 1:30, similarly night 12 to 1:30, one should not go out. Even if he is going out, he should not go across the temple of goddess Maisamma. So here, don't go, don't do, it is a prohibitive one. So such magical beliefs also we come across in all communities, all countries, among all religious systems. This is, of course, the nature of religion and magic. Let me have 1 or 2 minutes on the development of religion also. Urban societies or industrial societies or civilized societies all claim that they follow monotheism. Only one God will be worshipped. God is only one. A variety of names are there. That may be God or Supreme Power or Allah or Rama or Krishna, you name it. A variety of names we usually use, but we strongly believe in one God worship. But Taylor, of course, other anthropologists also, for instance, Marit or Durkheim or Malinowski or Radcliffe Brown, all these people thoroughly studied this concept. What they found can be categorized into two theoretical orientations. One is evolutionary theory of religion, and the second one is functional theory of religion. Edward Burnett Taylor, R.R. Marett, Max Muller, all these persons, they belong to evolutionary school of thought. Whereas Radcliffe Brown, Malinowski, or Sir James Fraser, or Durkheim, these people belong to the second school of thought, that is functionalism. Let me start with evolutionary theory. Evolutionary theorists say that monotheism is not from the beginning. It is, in fact, the last stage in the development of religion. The first stage of religion slowly entered into second, third, like that, stages. And what is the first stage? Edward Burnett Taylor theory is known as animism. Anima is a Malaysian term. Anima means soul. The first human being started worshipping soul, started narrating who is this soul, started recognizing this soul or anima. How? What he found, I'm talking about, let us say, a very first Homo sapiens or sapiens people, not highly developed people like us, religious wise. So these primitive people, they could understand the difference between death and sleeping. How they interpreted this, this is only one example I'm taking. This is not the only example. If a person is sleeping, after some time he wakes up. If a person is no more, then after some time he cannot wake up. So this is a basic difference between sleep and death. Here comes certain persons. During our sleep, we experience so many situations. For instance, we may see our relatives or friends. We may see that we are trying to hunt a game by using some kind of weapons and all that. We also see that we are confronting a tiger or elephant or let us say a bear or a snake. We also see that we are entering into some kind of conversation or contracts with persons whom we never saw. All these, for us, they are dreams only. But primitive people, they thought that it is not a mere dream. During, of course, when we are awake, then we'll be doing all these activities. But when we go to sleep, our soul, our anima will be doing activities. Anima will never go to sleep. Whatever experiences anima got during the sleep, our body will not be participating in that, but our soul will be participating in that. The next assumption also came. We are having, let us say, soul, and we are roaming around, we are doing hunting and all those things, and the soul comes back to the body and we wake up. But how come we are seeing a tiger or a snake or, let us say, elephant or any other animal? How come we also see some kind of, let us say, tools or weapons? What Taylor says is the concept of soul is extended to even the animals or other persons or tools, etc. When this is done, at our day-to-day life, we have developed highly developed political organizations, like having chiefdom or having a leader, religious leader, or gerontocracy, or lineage, like just like New Year's. Political organization based upon certain lineages, etc. So politically we are developed. So what we did is, all these souls were arranged in a hierarchy. When this hierarchy is arranged, then there emerged a polytheism. Our gods are many. All these gods are hierarchically arranged. Right? This is one stage. Of course, he talks about how clan develops and all those things, but because of the paucity of time, I'm not going into the details related to that. I think it is sufficient if we mention only up to this point. Then later what has happened? We have established, we have evolved into state-like political organizations. There emerged a kind of Raja or monarch, assisted by various ministers or let's say military people and all that. So similar concept is used in case of religious pantheon also. When we created many gods and considered one or two gods as the supreme gods, like a monarch or a state level organization, there emerged monotheism. So religion evolved into animism to many gods, polytheism, and polytheism to monotheism. But Taylor and Marit's theory is known as animatism, more or less same theory we come across there. What they cautioned is, don't that a particular society will be having only animistic beliefs, but not, if it is, let us say, primitive society, but not religion. And modern societies are going to have only monotheism. No way. Animistic, magic, polytheism, monotheism, all these beliefs will be there even in the present society. Now, that is the reason religion is a complex. It is not one or two aspects. It's a complex of various aspects, just like culture. Similar views were mentioned by Max Muller. Max Muller says the first religion was nature worship. We worshipped rain god, we worshipped all our trees and all those things. From there, we evolved into polytheistic societies and monotheistic societies. Augustin Comte, Sir James Fraser talks about fetishism. Even we are also having those beliefs. Say, for instance, most of the students will have a belief that if they use a particular pen on the day of their first examination and they could do well, then that pen will become a fetish. అచ్చొచ్చిన వస్తువు లేదా లక్కు తీసుకొచ్చి పెట్టే వస్తువు. It is not only pen, there are so many other things. We usually strongly believe if you have laughing Buddha at your, let us say, home or on the table where you are working, then it brings some kind of happiness. So this laughing Buddha is nothing but a kind of fetish. It is linked with some kind of religious cult. You name it. That may be anything. So fetishism is the step one or stage one of religion. Slowly, just like Taylor, even Fraser, Comte also talked about polytheism and monotheism. So these theories are termed as evolutionary theories, or which describe the development of religion. Functionalists concentrated on the functions of religion. Functionalists, I have already mentioned the names, Durkheim or Robert Redfield or Malinowski, all these persons. What they say is, religion, instead of having so many, let us say, gods and all those things, all these gods, etc., are there because religion has three different functions. The first and foremost one is, we will not be able to understand why a particular thing happens. Why sun arises only at, let's say, the east and sets at the west. We don't know, right? Unless you are an astronomer, studies astrophysics, even at the time also, you cannot give complete interpretation of sunset and sunrise at the east and west. Why we will be able to do some activities on a particular day and why not on other days? Why a particular area is flooded and why other area is not? Religion gives various explanations for all these activities, our day-to-day activities. Day-to-day activities are many crores of activities. Each activity will be explained by religion to us so that we'll be able to understand. But despite that, we'll be suffering with some kind of stress, tension, ambiguity, dilemmas, etc. We don't know what to do. Neither family nor economic system nor let us say political system will be able to reduce our tensions or ambiguity or dilemmas. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? I don't think economic system can answer this question. Neither polity nor the family. In such a scenario, then who will come to our rescue? It is always religion. Why religion is because religion has another function, namely interpretative function. It interprets the various aspects of our life, not only our personal life, but what is happening in our society. Even these things also will be explained. Let us take a simplest concept of Swarga, Naraka, Jannat and Jahannam. If you do these activities, then definitely you are going to the heaven or Jannat. These concepts are there in all religions. Need not be only, let us say, Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. No, even in tribal communities, we are having this. If you fail to do certain activities which you are expected to do, or if you are doing certain activities which are harmful to others, then definitely you are going to go to the hell. Right? This Swarga, Naraka, Jannat, and Jahannam concepts interprets the things. What is the first question I have raised? I think you still remember. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? What is going to happen to me after the death? So it's a kind of interpretations which we come across in religion. Not only big questions like this, big philosophical questions like this, even day-to-day activities also will be interpreted by the religion. Let me take omens, bad omen and good omen. Even today, many people strongly believe that if that is a black color cat goes across, if they are going to some place, then they think that that is not a good omen. Apashakunam, we usually call it in Telugu. So this apashakunam is a kind of interpretation. If this happens, this is going to happen. It's a kind of interpretative function. Third function of religion is social control. People are not at all good. Don't think that human beings are good. No, they are not. They are highly selfish. It's not me saying. Thomas Hobbes said so. And he also described how state emerged because of certain situations. We will be violating various rules and regulations. And we need, of course, to some extent, family or economic system or political system or education can control us. But this control is limited to only certain aspects. Certain other aspects we will not follow at all in the rules and regulations. In such a situation, who will come and control us? It is always the religion. Religion, by giving explanations, by interpreting things, it creates a terror in our minds. It intimidates us. And because of that intimidation, we follow it. We strongly believe that if we fail to do so, then probably this is going to happen. If something happens to us, then immediately we will give credit to our behavior where we fail to do certain activities as prescribed by our religion. So these are the three functions. So basically, all these three functions are linked with only one aspect, that is reducing our tension, reducing our ambiguousness, reducing our dilemmas, or reducing our psychological stress. In order to reduce all these things, what we do is we, as groups, here comes the congregational aspect, as groups will be going for prayer and all those things. And while doing these prayers or performing rituals or performing certain types of behavioral patterns, we develop consciousness. We are all together. And that consciousness is known as collective consciousness. Durkheim describes this collective consciousness. And in this collective consciousness, we'll be doing various activities because our society asks us to do so. That he describes as sui generis, and that is nothing but society. So Durkheim and the functional sociologists describe the functions of religion. One more aspect we have seen in order to understand religion, that is, we will be having both magic, religion, and all those things. So we said, but how? Is there any difference between these? Yes. In order to understand the nature of religion and magic, let us spend 1 or 2 minutes on the differences and similarities of magic and religion and magic and science. Why science? You please try to remember. At the beginning we said scientific method will be followed in case of doing magical rituals, and magical beliefs also are based upon scientific method. Of course, the present day sciences, laboratories, all these things are highly sophisticated. That is the reason some of the anthropologists describe magic as a pseudo-science. It is science based upon some kind of scientific principles, but at the same time, the correctness or accuracy of present-day scientific method may not be there in case of magic. Hence, it is a pseudo-science, they say. Then what are the differences as well as similarities between magic and religion? Let's have this thing. First and foremost thing is the nature or the emotion attached with. Religion is attached with or associated with awe, reverence. These are emotions. We strongly believe that supernatural powers are very great. Then we revere them, we worship them. Whereas magic is, of course, associated with awe and reverence, but at the same time, how to deal with. There, we never fear these forces. We think that we can control them. By controlling them, we can make them to do good for us, or good or bad, whatever it is. Because black magic also is there. So the second one is how people are working together. In religion, it is always a congregation. People who belong to a particular religious belief, they come together, pray together, and they freely meet, mingle, ask questions, and ask the priest to clarify various doubts, etc., etc. Everybody knows about the other person. Whereas in magic, secrecy is the criterion. No person will go to the magician along with his family members or friends and all those persons, because magic is always done at one-on-one level. Magician also will not be doing any religious rituals or magical rituals in front of many people. He will be doing all alone, because there our target is very, very clear. We'll be either doing some good to some person or a particular, let us say, situation, or bad to a particular person or situation. So magical rituals are always sacred rituals. No person is expected to say that I follow this particular type of magical principles. So no, nobody will say that. Third difference is magic and religion both go together. We cannot differentiate magic from religion in most of the cases. Though emotion associated with and methods are different, many times it is not possible to differentiate magic from religion, right? Then how are they interrelated? In fact, the last statement is that only they are interrelated. They always go together. Most of the religious rituals are magical rituals also. But some kind of specific aspects will be there. For instance, Malinowski, when he wrote a book on Trobriand Islanders, what he says is, in this particular society, Trobriand Islanders is a tribal society. In that particular society, if it is a magical ritual, let us say a person fell into love. In order to have benefit from that love, then he has to use a particular type of flowers or color of flowers and all those things. So kind of specificity is there in magic, whereas that type of specificity will not be there in case of religion. What are the similarities between magic and science? I have already mentioned it is based upon scientific method. Here, one thing we have to see. If the experiment is done properly, then definitely we can get the expected result. This is a belief in magic. If experiment is not done in a proper way because of the lack of skills on the part of the magician, then immediately he is going to suffer. And even the person, whoever has recruited the magician to do, also is going to suffer. Even in science also, more or less similar situation we come across. Only thing is, we will not, let us say, give negative sanctions to the scientist. We will ask the scientist to do the same experiment once again. You can do any number of times. Only thing is, you have to achieve the result, we say. Whereas in case of magic, it is not like that. In case of magic, sometimes social sanctions will be there, where dismembering of a person also is very, very popular. For instance, you might have come across various cases. If a person is having all teeth together, then whatever magical rituals he does, then those magical rituals will yield the expected results. In order to stop from him or her from doing magical rituals, one or two of his teeth should be extracted. In most of the villages, this will be done. And obviously, the magician will not accept it. Right? In that case, mayhem also occurs, beating the magician or, let us say, other persons linked with. And who are these other persons? For religion, only priest is there. No other persons are there. But in case of magic, we come across 2 or 3 different types of persons or officers. Sorcery is one word. Sorcery is always done to do bad to other persons. Mantragadu, we usually use this word. And if that person, whoever is officiating these magical rituals, in order to do bad to others, if that person is a lady, then that person is known as witch. And those rituals are known as witchcraft. If that person is a man, then that person is known as sorcerer. And those rituals are termed as sorcery. In European societies, witchcraft and sorcery, these two are different. Even in our societies also, we see certain sorcery activities as well as witchcraft activities. We also do magical activities in order to do good. I've already mentioned that is the growth of a crop or reducing our ailments, etc. These will be done by the magician or the person, magical head, not exactly a magician, but magical head. Here, that magical head should not have any, let us say, negative opinions that he should do bad and all those things. He should not have. If he has, then his magical rituals will not give any expected result. You might have come across one Pamula Mantram, Pamula Narsaya. He was very famous for so many years. If he administers Pamula Mantram, then whatever type of problem a person is suffering due to snake bite, all those problems will go away. People used to believe. And he used to give this Pamula Mantram via telephone also. Of course, now he is no longer there. But here, what is happening? That the Pamula Mantram is a magical belief, and he is doing only good. He is not doing any bad. Hence, it is working. So, such aspects will be there. These aspects will not be there in science. There, x plus y or 2 plus 2 is equal to, that should become 4 only. It cannot become neither 3 or nor 5. It is not possible because very accurate mathematical principles will be using in scientific method, whereas mathematical principles will be used by the persons whoever are working as sorcerers or witches or magical head, but accuracy part will not be that precise. So these are differences between magic, science, and religion. Is this clear so far? Hello? Sushmita, are you there? Bhargav? Sanjana?
Yes, ma'am, clear, ma'am.
It's clear, right? Okay. Because we are having only 1 minute left. If you're having any doubts, you're welcome.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, if you are not having any doubts or comments, then let us stop it here. And in our tomorrow's session, we'll be seeing the last block of this paper, social anthropology, that is tribal problems, tribal developmental projects, or various state as well as central level projects which we have taken up, and what type of protections are there for Indian tribal communities, because we will be focusing only on India under our constitution and policies towards tribes. So now let me say bye to you, and let's meet tomorrow at the same time at 10 o'clock. Okay? Take care.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Thank you.